Hey Arctic Warriors, what's up? Arctic Phoenix here. The 12-team playoff is a mistake. 100% a mistake. Like, all 4 games were a joke. I mean, Indiana got blown out by Notre Dame. I mean, I know it's a 2-score game, 27-17, but they were down 27-3 before those 2 garbage time touchdowns. SMU got blown out by Penn State. I mean, Clemson and Texas, well, was kind of close it was probably the best game. And Tennessee Ohio State was supposed to be the game to watch in the first round. Ohio State's destroying them 35-10. I mean, I know there's a quarter left at the time of this recording, but the game might as well be over at this point. Like, there should be no more than 8 teams in the playoff, maybe even 4, depending on how the second round goes. And they want to expand this to 14 teams in 2026, put in 2 more teams that have no business competing for a national championship. There was a reason. I mean, I know the 14 playoff had some flaws, but at least all 4 teams have a case of competing for a national championship. Even if it's just Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and for a majority of that time. Like, maybe the problem isn't adding more teams, it's the maybe getting rid of some things, like moving back the transfer portal, like maybe giving the other teams more exposure to maybe build them up a little bit so they can compete for a national championship. But just throwing them in there against the Ohio States, the Oregons, the Alabamas is just setting them up for failure. It is just further proving that the top teams are competing for a national championship for a reason. I mean, and look what FIFA's doing by expanding the World Cup to 48 teams. Do you really think adding 16 more teams is just going to give more teams an opportunity? No. It's just going to further prove all it is just going to give players more games to play and increase chances for injury. Look at Rodri on Man City. Tells you everything you need to know about expanding, giving these players more games and more chance to be injured. That's all that it is. Like, and even you're seeing that in the college football playoff this year. Like, some of the players being hurt. It's just going to water down the competitions. It's going to make the games less watchable. I mean, all this is a freaking cash grab, and it just should be an experiment just kept for, college football 25. Like, that's all that it should be. It should just be an option to just put in college football, NCAA football 25 for just an experiment to put on YouTube. Not to have this IRL and just be like, okay, let's just add in more teams and see if they can legitimately compete for a national championship. And we all know what they're trying to do. They're just trying to give these kids like a reason to actually compete in those games, because the New Year's Six Bowls, they're opting out to prepare for the draft. And one of the Penn State players even opted out for the transfer portal, even though his team is competing for a national championship. It's just like fixing a problem that doesn't need to be fixed in the first place. How about fix the freaking transfer portal? Like, cause look at what happened. Look at the Independence Bowl with Marshall and Army. That could have been a fun game to watch. Instead, Marshall had to opt out and be replaced by Louisiana Tech. I mean, there is way more wrong with college football than just than the freaking playoff format. It's just all that they're doing is adding another problem that doesn't need to be there in the first place. I mean, you got other stuff to fix. NCAA. I mean, and expanding the field to 14 is just going to make the problem worse. How about fixing your transfer portal issue, do something about the NIL, and just, I don't know, freaking prop up the other conferences and maybe reduce the college football, reduce the bracket for the national championship, and maybe try it again when the conferences are more balanced. Maybe do that first, like cut your losses when you still can, and then bring it back later when the other conferences are legitimately more competitive. Just expanding the field right now is a freaking cash grab, and it's gonna do more harm than good. I don't know what NCAA is thinking with this. Thank you. Have a nice day. Peace.